What is up, Bills Mafia? This is Brett back with another edition of the Go Bills podcast here on the YouTube channel of the Go Bills podcast. Thank you all for attending. We appreciate each and every one of you on this lovely Friday night. This is the Week 8 preview game against the Green Bay Packers. And the Buffalo Bills are going to be playing on Sunday Night Football this week. But before we get started on anything, I got to introduce you guys to the newest member and the most loved by all of us in my family, member of the Bills Mafia. She is even more impressive than me. And I got to give you to my co-host of the night and my favorite Bills Mafia member, my new puppy, Shiloh Ray. She is going to be co-starring with me from now on. You can tell how excited she is to be a part of this show. We even got her Josh Allen jersey to begin this year, and she is looking forward to each and every week of Buffalo Bills football. So she is going to give you a little wave before we even get started. But without further ado, let's get this thing rocking and rolling, and let's talk about our Buffalo Bills. So the Buffalo Bills will be playing at home for the first time on Sunday Night Football since 2007, I'm sorry, where fans are going to be in the stands. So I'm looking forward to that. All the Bills Mafia is going to be able to get out there and talk and cheer on our Buffalo Bills. It is going to be electric this week, and it's going to be a fun game against the Green Bay Packers, who are struggling right now, and they can't figure out their receiving core as well as their offensive line. So that's going to be a big struggle for them, but hopefully, and I believe the Bills will get it started and get it rolling. So without further ado, let's begin this thing and talk about the Green Bay Packers to begin with. So the Green Bay Packers are coming into this game with a 3-4 record. It's not normal for the Packers to have this type of record, especially the last two seasons, where they've only lost 2 or 3 games each year in the Matt LaFleur coaching scheme. So this is the year where the Packers are struggling. They lost Devontae Adams to the trade market. They let him go, and they picked up Christian Watson, who is their number one receiver right now. The Packers are coming into this game for the first time in Aaron Rodgers' career with a 10.5-point underdogs, and they're just struggling left and right. They don't have receivers right now. They can't figure out what is going wrong. Receivers are dropping passes that they really should easily be getting into play. And Aaron Rodgers is just fed up. You can tell he is. So hopefully this is a game where the Packers are going to have similar issues, but it just seems like they can't figure out what the heck is going wrong. Right now, Josh Allen is number 1 in the league with a passer rating of 108, but Aaron Rodgers is right behind him at 106. And actually, Aaron Rodgers has a 13-game win streak on primetime, so hopefully we can knock that out of the park. As far as the Bills are 5-0 in the McDermott era in games off of the bye. So hopefully it's going to be hard, but one of these teams is going to have a loss next to their name or a player next to their name in as far as their record is going to be unbroken. For the Packers coming into this game, I do think on offense, the biggest player to watch is going to be Aaron Jones. He is a player that I think is going to have to be stopped in the run game, especially. Him and A.J. Dillon are going to be the 2 players for me that we should definitely be on the watch list for. As far as Aaron Jones, he is the leading running back for them, and he is a player that can do it all. He can do it out of the backfield. He can also do it in the pass game, and it's going to be some tough matchups for the Bills, especially with Tremaine Edmonds or Matt Milano going up against them. So hopefully we can get that straightened out, but it's going to be a fun game for that. Let's give a little shout out to the Red, White, and Bills. I was previously on their podcast, and don't forget to give them a follow. We've done a lot of shows with them, along with Nickel City Mafia, two awesome pages that are both diehard Bills fans, along with myself. So give them a shout out. They're saying go Bills, along with Nickel City Mafia saying go Bills as well. Shout out to both of you. We had a pre-game show before this on the Red, White, and Bills YouTube channel, so don't forget to like and subscribe and follow them on all their social media accounts. I know Sean and Mike, as well as Jake, all do a great job of everything that they do. So giving them a big old shout out. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys for giving me all the confidence that I have in doing these podcasts by myself, and not only by myself, but with you guys. As far as the offense for the Packers, again, another player that I am looking forward to the matchup is going to be Kaiir Elam on Christian Watson. I love this matchup because I think that this is going to be the matchup of the day for the Bills on defense, is stopping Christian Watson and not allowing him to have a big game. This is two rookies going against each other, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And we talked about it previously on the Red, White, and Bills. I think this is going to be a game where I believe that it's going to come down to Kaiir Elam playing press coverage, which is something that he's done a really good job of, playing press coverage. And if he plays press coverage on Christian Watson, I think the Bills are going to come away with a couple of turnovers in this game. So hopefully we can see a couple of turnovers that way. And I think that it's going to be tough to get a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers, especially with the defensive line. But if we do get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, it has to come from the interior defensive line. We talked about it previously, and Nickel City Mafia brought it up before, saying that Aaron Rodgers is giving the ball away, or getting the ball out of his hands in less than 2 seconds. And that's a really hard stat to get pressure on a quarterback. So hopefully we can get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, get some sacks in the game. But I do think that this is going to come down to a game where the Bills don't have a lot of sacks, but they are maintaining pressure throughout each and every play. And that allows the Bills to have excellent coverage in the back end. And it allows the Bills to also get some interceptions, as well as some big-time pass breakups. So if you're looking at stats where the Bills are going to do and what they're going to do, I think the Bills are going to have really good stats in the pass defense, and as well as getting some interceptions. Going to the Bills defense, a player that needs to step up in this game, in my opinion, is going to have to be Tremaine Edmonds. He's going to have a tough matchup going against Aaron Jones, and I believe that he is going to be the player that has to put pressure on Aaron Rodgers to not have those easy passes to running backs. So I think that he's going to have to have his instincts locked in and hit the right holes and make sure he's getting into the backfield. We've talked about it previously on the Red, White, and Bills. The biggest thing for me, and we were talking about different players that the Bills could target in the trade market, and this is something that Sean brought up as a player that we could target, was Roquan Smith, who is leading the league with over 70 tackles going into this week. And he is a player that a lot of people really like. So possibly, Buffalo could target him, or maybe even target him in free agency next year. But he's a player that is making tackles and making big plays, but we haven't really seen those big plays out of Tremaine Edmonds. And maybe that's a defensive scheme that we see, but I'd like to see Tremaine have a big game this week. He has had you usually see about 100 tackles from him, but this is a game where I think he can go for between 10 and 12 tackles in this game. So hopefully we can see Tremaine getting around the ball. And Matt Milano has stepped up big this year. He looks great, and he's well worth the contract that Buffalo got him for. So hopefully we can get Tremaine Edmonds involved a little bit more and get that tackles numbers up. Another player that I'm looking forward to in this game is Jordan Poyer. And Jordan Poyer looks fantastic, guys. I mean, just left and right, making big plays for the Bills. And he is showing why he's a leader on defense. So I'd love to see him especially for Micah Hyde, who's not going to be able to play in this game. Micah previously played for the Green Bay Packers, but I'd really like to see Jordan Poyer come down with an interception in this game. He is tied for the league lead in interceptions to start the year with 4. He is tied with Tyreek Mullen, who is having a fantastic year for the Seattle Seahawks and looks the part there in Seattle. And the big reason why Seattle has a great record this year, not only him, but Geno Smith is doing a fantastic job as well. But a big reason why the the Seattle Seahawks are doing a fantastic job this year. So hopefully we can see an interception and bring another ball home to the Bills and have his number be in the league lead, as well as get that number for up for Micah Hyde. And I'd love to see him get that for Micah Hyde. I think it would be great for him. To go with the comments on Instagram real quick, Woolen is being slept on. He's saying, Defensive Rookie of the Year, and for me and Jets fans think Sauce. I do think that Woolen is definitely a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and he is somebody that I do think that will be in consideration. I do think that Sauce Gardner is just having a great year, but it's not the same as players like Kaiir Elam or even Tyreek Woolen. So I do think that at the end of the season, it's going to come down to, the player with the biggest, the best record. So, I mean, I think that Gardner is a big reason why the Jets are 5-2, but I do think that it could come down to, Woolen or Sauce Gardner for the Defensive Rookie of the Year, especially if Woolen is keeping the numbers up towards the end of the year. For the Bills on offense, I think the biggest players that are the players to definitely be looking forward to is I want to see a bounce back game from Isaiah McKenzie. And I think that McKenzie, especially in the game against the Kansas City Chiefs, he struggled. While I don't think that the ball that was thrown his way on the pass to him, where it was a fumble, I think that that's definitely a play where it was on Josh Allen. But I want to see a bounce back game from Isaiah McKenzie. I think that, especially in the first 5 games, you can forget about the 6th game, he's looked fantastic. And he looks the part. He looks like he's an excellent slot receiver for the Bills. But he just struggled in that the game against the Kansas City Chiefs coming off of the concussion. And Nickel City Mafia brought this up especially. He said that it seemed like he was just afraid to go for different passes, and he was afraid and looking ahead towards the different guys that were ahead of him. And that might have been the little hesitation that he had. So I'd like to see Isaiah McKenzie have a bounce back game in this game. And I think he will. I think that he's going to go for around 80 yards and get a touchdown as well and have a bounce back game. Let's go with the comments again on on YouTube. Nickel City Mafia said Rodgers will be getting the ball out quickly, so Edmonds needs to be all over the field. I agree, Brad. A big game from Edmonds for sure. Definitely. I think that there's going to be a big game from Edmonds. I think that it just has to come. His time is coming. He is in a contract year right now. You've seen his other counterpart in first-round pick, Josh Allen, getting a contract extension. But I do think the time is coming very soon for Tremaine to have a big game. So I don't see why it couldn't be against the Green Bay Packers. Another guy that I'm looking forward to as well, and we talked about it on the Red, White, and Bills, is Dawson Knox. He had the game winner against the Kansas City Chiefs. And while he does have a heavy heart his way, he is starting to come into his own. And I really want to see him have another big game. So I think that he's going to be a big part of why the Bills will be contending in this game. And if not only contending, but winning this game. So I think this is a game where we can get Dawson involved a lot. This is a game where we're going up against a really good defense in the Green Bay Packers, especially in the pass game. And they're allowing under 180 yards per game. So hopefully we can get Dawson Knox involved a little bit more and especially in the red zone. In the red zone, he is a player that we should be targeting almost every single play. Between him and Gabe Davis, we should be targeting both every single play in the red zone. And I've been wondering and scratching my head going, why are we not targeting him enough? While I do think that it might be because of, he's got a lot on his mind and everything, but I think it's time that we need to spread the ball a little bit more. We've been targeting all our receivers, and they're leading the league in yards per this season. So as a whole for the group, we're leading the league in yards. I want to see more out of the tight end room, and I really want to see more out of Dawson Knox. So hopefully we can see a little bit more out of Dawson Knox, get him involved in the game, and I would love to see him be a player that goes for over 80 yards as well. And I'd love to see him get another touchdown and get those numbers back to where he was last year, where he was a fantasy top tight end in the league. And I hope he gets a touchdown this week. Another player that I really think needs to have a bounce back game this week is some of the offensive line, especially on the right side of the offensive line. Ryan Bates. I mean, I'm going to tell you about Ryan Bates. And, I was going to say Spencer Brown, but Spencer Brown's going to be out of this game. So I do think that it's going to come down to the right side of the offensive line having a big game. They're going against a defense that's pretty good. And like I said, they're allowing not that many yards. So for me, it's going to be the right side of the offensive line, not only in the pass game, but in the run game, establishing the line of scrimmage, getting holes open for Devin Singletary as well as James Cook and even Josh Allen. So I want to see the offensive line doing a really good job and getting those holes so that we can get the run game going. We talked about the pass game for the Green Bay Packers, and now we can talk about the run game for the Bills as well as the run defense for the Green Bay Packers. And the run game for the Green Bay Packers is not that good this year. They are struggling left and right to make stops. And I think this is a game plan where the Bills should exploit this left and right. We've looked for in the past where we haven't seen a lot of big plays out of Devin Singletary. And finally, he's come to his own. He had a big game against the Kansas City Chiefs where he had 85 yards. And I think this is a game where we could see Buffalo having a running back that goes over 100 yards. And I'd love to see it be this week for Devin Singletary or even James Cook. I know that Nickel City Mafia is big on James Cook, and I know he has a bet going on right now, and hopefully he wins that bet. I really want to see him win that bet so that I can get in on that bet and get some wings in Buffalo. I know that we've talked about some good places to get wings in Buffalo. So if you have some thoughts on where you can get some good wings in Buffalo, I've heard the Anchor Bar. I've heard of a couple of other places, but if you have some good ideas, don't forget to put them in the comments because I will definitely put them on the show. So hopefully Jake loses that bet and Mike wins that bet. So back to where I was going. I got off topic a little bit, but just being a little bit funny, having a good time with this. Going back to it, I want to see a big game out of Devin Singletary. I really do. I think his time is coming. He's the best running back on the Bills by far this season. He is averaging 5.6 yards per carry, and it's time to get that running game going. We talked about Aaron Cromer and the offensive line that he has, and I want to see a big game from that group. I want to see them opening up holes for Devin Singletary and allowing him to get over the 100-yard mark. If you look at the past when Aaron Cromer was with Buffalo, when he had Shady and other running backs that we had as well, we were leading the league in the run game, and we were number one in run offense. But now we are not doing a good job in the run game if you take out Josh Allen. So hopefully we can get over the 100-yard mark and we can get this thing rolling. And we can show why we not only do you have to fear Josh Allen, but you also have to fear Devin Singletary. And I think that this game is going to come down to Buffalo having a good game plan, and I'd really like to see some more read options for Devin Singletary getting involved as well. So hopefully we can do that a little bit more, and we get him over that 100-yard mark, and we do that not only, but we show why Buffalo is now a run game. Let's go up the comments again on YouTube. Nickel City Mafia mentioned, what do you think about the rumors of trading for Kareem Hunt or Cam Akers? And for both of those rumors, I think that the running game is decent. I don't think we utilize our running backs enough. And I don't think that it comes down to, is it James Cook's fault, or is it Zach Moss's fault, or is it Devin Singletary's fault? I think it's just the play calling that we have. And I really like the running backs that we have on the roster. I think that Zach Moss is struggling again this year. And I just don't think that he fits the scheme that we're trying to run. So hopefully, I do believe that James Cook has overtaken him on the roster. And I think that it's going to be Singletary and Cook. And I think that the amount of carries that each of them should get and how the snap count should be split up is going to be 70-30 or 80-20 Singletary getting more of the carries. And I think that it should come down to that. I think Singletary is the best player for the running back position for the Bills going forward. And I think that he can do everything. He is leading the team or near the top of the team in receptions. He's also near the top of the team as far as targets. So hopefully we can get him involved a little bit more. He's showing why he is not only one-dimensional being a running back, but he's also two-dimensional being a pass catcher. So why not utilize him more? But Nickel City Mafia brought this up, and it's a good point. I really like what he said about this. He said, why are we using Devin Singletary so much in the pass game? And why are we not utilizing James Cook? And I really want to see more out of James Cook. I really do. But he's hit that rookie wall so much this year. And he's only has 19 carries on the season for a little under 100 yards. But I want to see more out of James Cook. So Nickel City Mafia said that he is a member that he thinks that he will have a big game. And I want to see him have a big game. I really do. But he's going left and right, and it just seems like he's going up and down so much. So these rumors about Buffalo targeting a running back, I know we said that we were in on Christian McCaffrey, as well as where there's talks about Alvin Kamara, and there's talks about Cam Akers and Kareem Hunt. Those rumors, I think Buffalo should be involved. If the price is right, maybe you can give up a running back in Zach Moss and get a guy like Cam Akers or Kareem Hunt. Would I like that? Not necessarily, but you can never use too many good running backs. And especially in the playoffs. I mean, if you look at where Buffalo struggled last year, we struggled with pass-catching running backs, and we struggled with pass catchers to begin with. We had a wide receiver that was injured, and we couldn't get him involved in Cole Beasley as well as in Stephon Diggs. And while Diggs was being double or triple covered, we got Gabe Davis involved. But what happens if Gabe Davis gets covered and you have nobody else to go to? Are you going to be, are you going to have enough weapons? There's talks about getting Odell Beckham Jr. There's talks about getting other guys, that we could get. But I really would like to see Buffalo make a move for another player that we can utilize in the pass game. So whether that comes as a running back or that comes as a wide receiver, I'd be happy with either one of them. And for me personally, I think that the Buffalo should go after another receiver, especially in the slot game. I think that's the spot where Buffalo really struggles in the pass game. And I think that getting a bona fide slot receiver is going to be the way to go. And I felt like it was going to come down to Jamison Crowder being that guy, but Jamison Crowder got injured. And then now we're relying on Isaiah McKenzie. So hopefully we can get that position figured out. And if it, to me, it looks like, if you had to take somebody away, I mean, if you look at Diggs, Davis, or McKenzie, it has to be McKenzie being the player that's struggling. As far as that's the weak point in the offense. So getting a guy like an Odell Beckham Jr. or another player of that caliber, I would love to see it. And while the asking price right now is very high, I mean, maybe the asking price comes down, especially for Odell Beckham Jr. wanting to play with Von Miller again, and the thought of maybe getting a second ring. I'd love to see that happen. So we'll see where that goes. But in my opinion, I would be targeting a wide receiver over a running back. But that's a very good question, though, Nickel City Mafia. I do appreciate that question. Another player that for the Bills on offense that I think is going to have a good game in this game is Josh Allen. I know there's been talks around the league about him not having a big game, but I think that the only person that can beat Josh is himself at this point in his career. I think that he's going to go for around 300 yards. He is going to have about 3 to 4 touchdowns, and he's going to make all the big plays. So hopefully that happens. As far as the Packers on offense, another guy that I really I'd like to see something out of him. I don't wish him all the best and everything, but the return of Sammy Watkins to Buffalo, I want to see Sammy have an okay game. I want to see him get involved to showcase why he's the Sammy Watkins that Buffalo put a lot of trade assets for, and I want to see what he can do. This is an offense where Aaron Rodgers is really struggling, and the receivers are struggling. They're not on the same page, and you're probably the oldest receiver on the roster is going to come down to Sammy Watkins. So hopefully they can get him involved a little bit more. As for the defense of the Packers, I really like the matchup of Diggs on Jair Alexander. And I think that this is going to be a matchup where Buffalo is going to have a fun matchup with this. This is an all-pro level cornerback going against the all-pro level wide receiver in the Bills, Stephon Diggs. And I really like this matchup for the Bills because one-on-one coverage for Stephon Diggs, he's lighting it up right now, doing a really good job. And if he goes one-on-one against Jair Alexander or anybody else in this league, he can torch him left and right. And he will torch him left and right. So hopefully, in my opinion, I think he's going to light it up, go for over 100 yards, and showcase why Stephon Diggs is the best receiver in the NFL. And it's not Tyreek Hill. It's Stephon Diggs. If you look at what Stephon Diggs has done since he came to Buffalo, the mentality that has changed, the hunger that we have for a wide receiver that wants the ball and wants to be involved in the game. We don't talk about him enough, but the Bills absolutely won that trade. And the Bills got everything out of that trade, and they've become a better team just because of getting Stephon Diggs. Another player that I'm looking forward to seeing on the Green Bay Packers on defense as well is going to be the defensive tackle for the Green Bay Packers. I'm drawing a blank for a second, but bear with me 1 second, guys. I'm just going back to my notes real quick. Let's see, defensive tackle in Kenny Clark versus Mitch Morse. I think that this matchup is going to be intriguing, and I do think that the Bills are going to have a fun matchup in this one, and I think this is the matchup where we need to see a little bit more from the interior offensive line of the Bills. So stopping Kenny Clark is going to be a good matchup. And not allowing the interior defensive line to outpunish the interior offensive line of the Bills, which has been a little bit of a struggle recently, with Roger Saffold getting used to playing next to Deion Dawkins and Mitch Morse having some struggles as well, along with Ryan Bates. Getting that figured out and getting the defensive line of the Packers stopped is going to be a good matchup. So let's get that rocking and rolling. As for score predictions in this game and other stats and ways that the Bills can win this game, let's go with that. I think the biggest keys for the game for the Bills are going to come down to penalties. This is something that we talked about especially. Penalties are something that has hurt the Bills so much this year. The leader in the league in penalties this year is the Dallas Cowboys, who have 49 penalties for 377 yards. The Bills are not that far behind him, and the Bills have played one less game than the Dallas Cowboys. They have 36 penalties for 252 yards this season. So eliminating the stupid penalties that we have and not allowing the Packers to have field position that is in good field positions to get Aaron Rodgers down the field is important. I think the biggest thing for the Bills is having extended drives and getting into the Packers territory and not allowing Aaron Rodgers to get on the field and do what Aaron Rodgers does. Never have him be comfortable. So that's my first key of the game. Second key of the game is going to be getting pressure on Aaron Rodgers. Especially with the four-man front, I think it comes down to getting pressure and getting interior pressure on Aaron Rodgers. You cannot allow Aaron Rodgers, especially at this point in his career, where he's not doing a big job in getting making running plays and leaving the pocket and going out wide like Patrick Mahomes and so many of these really good mobile quarterbacks do. But making sure that Aaron Rodgers is uncomfortable and getting pressure in his face and making him miss those easy throws that you normally see. That's a key point for me. And another key point is going to be Tremaine Edmonds as well as Matt Milano. Tremaine Edmonds going up against the running backs of the Green Bay Packers and Matt Milano going up against Robert Tonyan. They have to have a good game in this game and be all over the field, not only in going up against for Matt Milano going up against Robert Tonyan, but also making stops out of the backfield, making sure that you're stopping A.J. Dillon, making sure you're stopping Aaron Jones, but making sure you're tackling and making your presence known all over the field. This is a game where I want to see these linebackers have an excellent game and I'd love to see between 30 and 40 tackles in this game between the two of them. That would be a dream for me. So hopefully we can see that in this game. Another key area for me is going to be just making sure that you're playing smart football. I know it's coming off of a bye week and there's going to be mistakes and stuff like that, but making sure that we start off on a hot tempo. The tempo right now, we don't know what the Bills are going to do. Just because, they might be struggling a little bit, but if you look at what the Bills have done over the past couple of years, especially coming out of a bye, in the first half, we've kind of struggled. I mean, if you look at it, we come out flat, and then we get good towards the second half. So I want to see Buffalo come out of this game. I want to see them come out and show what they've done in the first 6 games and have the same success that we had over the 6 games and bring it to the second half and showcase why in the second half, those halftime adjustments that we struggled in the Dable era are now fixed. We figured it out, and we're not making those stupid mistakes like we normally do. So let's get that going, and let's make good plays and start with a hot game and have Josh Allen be the same Josh Allen that he's been over the first 6 games, which I think he will. But have that happen and have, the Bills clicking on all cylinders left and right. Let's get that going. Another key area that I think is going to be important is not only the players, but also the coaching. I think it comes down to Aaron Cromer as well as Ken Dorsey. Getting the right plays in, making sure that you're doing what is going to work for you. And that not only is it the play calling at the right moments, but also the execution. We've seen some plays where the Bills are not executing at the right way and stuff like that, and maybe the right personnel is not in the game for the right play. But I want to see the right plays at the right time. There's been a couple plays where I've seen Khalil Shakur, which I really like, but he's in the game, and maybe that play should have gone for Isaiah McKenzie. And you see that, and you kind of scratch your head going, well, could Isaiah McKenzie have done that correctly? And should we go with another player like, should Devin Singletary have been in there? Or should James Cook have been in there? So getting the right guys in there at the right time and making sure that you have the right 11 guys in there at the right time is important for me. As for the defense, Leslie Frazier has done an excellent job. He is showcasing why he is a coach of the year, or not coach of the year, but a head coaching candidate each and every year. So hopefully we can get him to a head coaching position, and I think he will at the end of the season, not only, but showcase why he is important for the Bills and making sure that he gets the right calls into the team at the right time as well. Other areas, let's talk about the special teams. That's something that we don't really talk about. Tyler Bass has been great as usual and looks excellent. But let's talk about Tyler Bass for a couple minutes and talk about, there's been a couple of misses that he's had over the course of the year. But I want to see Tyler Bass have opportunities to showcase his leg. And this is an area that I think McDermott has kind of struggled with, when to allow his kicker to come out there. But if we get stopped and we're at the 40-yard line for the Packers, I want to see Tyler Bass make a kick. I want to see that. We don't really see that enough. And I think it's going to be coming very shortly. And I want to see a 58 to 60-yard kick from Tyler Bass. Let's go with the comments again on YouTube. Another comment from the Nickel City Mafia. He said, that is a great point, Brett. Let's get off to a hot start and not let the Packers stay in this game at all. I think that's going to be the biggest thing for the Bills, is making sure that we come off to a hot start, making sure that the Green Bay Packers are uncomfortable from the beginning of the game all the way until the end of the game. So that's why I think that the Bills are going to have a hot start. And I think they're going to slow down a little bit towards the middle of the game. The Green Bay Packers are going to figure them out. They have an excellent pass defense. And I don't think this is going to be a big scoring game like most people think. While it's a Sunday night football game, I think that this game is going to come down to whichever defense can stop the other team's offense. And I think that the Bills by far have the better defense in this game. And I think that they're going to do an excellent job like they always do. And I'm looking forward to this defense, especially with getting Trey White back. That's going to be a big piece for the Bills coming up very shortly. Going with the score predictions of this game, I think that the Bills are going to come out of this game with another win. They're going to start 6-0 off of the bye week, and they're going to be 6-1 and showcasing why they are the number one team in the AFC. And my score prediction of this game is going to be the Bills coming away with this game with a final score of 28-7 in favor of the Bills. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment on all our social media accounts, and don't forget to give a shout out and like and subscribe to all these different Bills Mafia accounts, such as the Nickel City Mafia and the Red, White, and Bills. You can find the Red, White, and Bills on YouTube and Instagram at Red, White, and Bills. And don't forget to follow the Nickel City Mafia. You can find them on YouTube, Instagram, as well as on Facebook. They do an excellent job, both of them. Sean has been a big help with me, Sean being a part of the Red, White, and Bills. He has been encouraging me left and right. And we have a group chat going on right now, and it goes on every single week. So don't forget to like and subscribe to all our different channels. As always, this is the Go Bills podcast, and you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And as always, guys, we got our pregame show coming up not tomorrow. It's going to be in 48 hours. On Sunday, we'll be going live We'll be starting that at 7:30 on YouTube, and we'll also be having that on Instagram as well. And we're going to be doing a halftime show as well on YouTube and Instagram, and having another show coming up on at the halftime on YouTube and Instagram, and then a post-game show as well. This has been the Go Bills Mafia or Go Bills Podcast. I'm sorry, not Go Bills Mafia, but as always, Bills Mafia. You can find don't forget to say it with us. Go Bills. This has been the Go Bills Podcast, and we will see you next time.